It's true. Well, hey, good morning. My name is Isaac. I use he, him pronouns. Glad you're here this morning. As we get started today, if you're comfortable, I want to invite you to stand and join us in singing this first song together. Go, 2, 3, 4.
Good morning. Hey, there we go. I'm sorry, online people. I knew I was forgetting to do something before we started worship. And what's really funny about this is that my name's Jenny. My pronouns are she, her. I'm the pastor here. I just got back from annual conference, which is the annual meeting of all of the United Methodist churches with reps, clergy and reps from 700 churches together. And the sound at this and the tech at this was just, it was awful. And the whole time I was like, oh, we'd be way better at Hope Church. We would be so good. And so I think that was kind of the humility that I needed to have to just completely forget to have a microphone. And this gives you a clue of the type of church you're at. We seek to do all that we do with bringing our best selves, and also we are authentically who we are. And that's part of why we say that absolutely everyone can be a part of this church, because there's no sense of you have to be just so. You have to have achieved this and have your life together at this level before you'll fit in. It's kind of well, come as you are, and we'll figure this out together, and we care about building community with each other. I would love for you to turn to our prayer statement. This is what we use to determine everything that we do for this church. This is what guides us in our present and pushes us to our future. So let us pray. Dear God, as Hope Church, we pray that this is a place where absolutely everyone experiences God's love. We are a place of theological thought and conversation, and we are a community learning to live Christ-centered lives. Amen.
Again, if you're comfortable, I want to invite you to stand as we sing this next song together. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You have been so, so kind to me. And all the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights where I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Your foe, still your love fought for me. You have been so, so good to me. When I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. You have been so, so kind to me. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it, but still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, a lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no wall you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God.
I didn't properly say hello to those of you online when I did the welcome. So hello to everyone online, and your online facilitator this morning is Norris. So you can say, Norris, you want to wave to your online people? Hello. So if you're on the app, you can actually be in a chat that remains more private or on the website. We're moving to the time of offering. And coming out of that song that points to just the overwhelming love of God, which is our theme of worship today. That's what we're going to talk about. And in the midst of it, I've been doing a lot of why does the church have a reputation for not being about love? And I asking people that question, and in a conversation Friday evening, there were 3 or 4 people who do not go to church, and they said, you know what I hate about church? They're just always asking for money. I just hate it. And I said, well, you know, we do have an offering every week. Is that what you hate? And they're like, well, no. And I said, it's just to pay the light bills. No one's getting rich here. So I pray that you experience this time when we take an offering, not as a, my goodness, why don't they understand what my life circumstance is? And think of it more as a thanksgiving for those who are around you here, those who are online, those who are at the other services, who have all said, okay, I can do my part in this, and you can do your part in this. And together as a community, we have said this is something that we value to the point that we're willing to invest in it. And I really appreciate that, and I hope you all appreciate each other in that, because this is a church where if you are someone for whom $10 is really pushing the margin in your life, or it's much more than that, all of these gifts are valued and a part of how we do what we do. So I invite the ushers to come forward. You can see on the screen that there are multiple ways to give, and we give thanks for those who give through the week.
In the end, it is love that matters. All else will pass away. We need a thoughtful love, a wisdom that sees and knows more deeply, a faith that trusts in the power of God who lives beneath our wings. Ours is the age of something radically new. It is more than a reformation. It is an evolution in love. It is not simply we humans who are in evolution, but God seeks to evolve, to become more being in love, more conscious, more God at the heart of the universe. This is the truth that sets us free, the light that eludes our sight. We are the privileged bearers of transcendence. God cannot do for us what we must do for ourselves. Empty our lives of the inner clutter and noise so that we may welcome God within. Only when we allow God to be God for us can God save us. Because divine love can do no other than make whole. God's love is unmanageable and unruly. It is creative, spontaneous, and novel. It slips in between our controlling urges and dwells in the unbearable wholeness of our being. What a cunning God this is, who hides in lepers and appears in a poor man carpenter turned preacher. Divine love is beyond what the human mind can imagine or invent. It is not logical or predictable. It has empowered life from the beginning and promises to stay forever because love is ever new, ever more whole, deepening the rich creativity of life's playfulness. We all have a part in this unfolding love. We are all wholes within wholes, persons within persons, religions within religions. We are one body, and we seek one mind and heart, more personal and unified in love. This urging toward oneness is an invitation to evolve the divine. We must unfold the past into the quantum moment and let us aim toward the future. For up ahead is the Christ, rising from the dead in the darkness of night to become for us the God of the future.
Heavenly Father, you always amaze me, and let your kingdom come in my world and in my life. Give me the food I need to live through today, and forgive me as I forgive people who wrong me. Lead me far from temptation, deliver me from the evil one. I look out the window, the birds are composing. Not a note is out of tune or out of place. I walk to the meadow and stare at the flowers, and better dressed than any girl on a wedding day. So why should I worry? Why do I freak out? God knows what I need. You know what I need. Your love is, your love is, your love is strong. Your love is, your love is, your love is strong. Your love is, your love is, your love is strong. kingdom of the heavens is now advancing. Invade my heart, invade this broken town. The kingdom of the heavens is buried treasure. And would you sell yourself to buy the one you found? Two things you told me: you are strong and you love me. Yes, you love me. Your love is, your love is, your love is strong. Your love is, your love is, your love is strong. Your love is, your love is, your love is strong. Your love is, your love is, your love is strong. Oh, God in heaven, hallowed be thy name above all names. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And give us today our daily bread. Forgive us weary sinners, and keep us far from our vices, and deliver us from these prisons.
Amen. So we're in the second week of a sermon series called Restoring Faith. And it's just an acknowledgement that sometimes the faith of our childhood or our young adulthood or last year is not what is working for us now. And it's a way of giving permission to just be honest about that it's okay to say that out loud. Last week we talked about how the number one thing that Jesus did was ask questions. He had so many more questions than answers. And the concept of deconstructing one's faith with that language might be newer in the last decade or two, but it's certainly not something that's new in people's life experience, because there are things that you learn and that make sense for you at different times of your life, and then there are new experiences. And all of a sudden, that belief structure you had just doesn't make sense anymore. And so we're talking about how it's not only okay to ask questions, it's encouraged, it's modeled, it's a good thing. Your faith is meant to grow and change. And sometimes those old structures that were once beautiful and glorious and sacred are crumbling, but there's something new coming up. There's a new life springing forth, and we acknowledge that when you begin to have to say goodbye to that which had served you before and no longer, there can sometimes be grief in that. There can even sometimes be the sense, like, especially if you had a very kind of rigid or fundamentalist faith in one way, that when you shift, you can accidentally have a rigid and fundamentalist faith in this new way. And the idea is, okay, let's remain open to who God is and to the questions that we have, and that this is no more solid and perfect black and white right than this was. We acknowledge that God is present in the midst of all of it. When we feel like just super close to God and really deep in our faith and really connected spiritually, God's present there. And also in those times where we feel disconnected from the source of all love, when we feel disconnected from our own spirit, that God is present there as well. To think about restoring faith, I've been reading a book. You'd think I might be reading a book on, here's how to think about faith. Instead, I've been reading a book. It just came out 2 months ago. It is called Why Religion Went Obsolete, The Demise of Traditional Faith in America. It's a real uplifting book there. And it's important. It's so important, and it's really good. In fact, at this point, I'm only a couple of chapters in, and I want to really dig into it. It's Christian Smith is the author, and he works at Notre Dame University. It's published by Oxford University Press. He, in the context of the way he talks about this, traditional faith in America, he defines as, and his research is with Catholic, Protestant, and evangelical conservative churches. So you might notice there are other major world religions that have traditional faith, and the reason that he isn't including that in his research is that is still in some ways marginalized in the United States. And so when he's talking about traditional faith in America, he's looking at our history of Catholicism, Protestantism, and non-denominationalism. This probably won't be a surprise that less people go to church. Though I will tell you, I still hear the phrase, oh, everyone in town goes to XYZ church. No, everyone in town, in fact, most people in town don't go to church. So that's just simply not true. I want to show you in just a second a couple of graphs, and when I do, I'm not doing so to be like, oh, boo-hoo, this horrible unchurch-going generation. It's not for that purpose. I think you've heard me say before, my grandparents didn't go to church in a time where, quote-unquote, everyone went to church. My dad was raised not going to church, so I love people who don't go to church. They're like more fun. I was already had to create a church for people who don't go to church. It's a horrible business model, as I've said, but so when I show you these graphs, it's so that we can get a sense of reality. It's not so that we can bemoan, oh, what's gone wrong. It's really just to get a sense of reality. So first, I want to show you church attendance by generation. And I know that those words are small, but if you see the church attendance in the 60 and 70 percentile, those are the greatest generation and the silent generation, the generations that really have, most of them have died or are dying. Like that's people who are, 92 and above. And then in that 50 percentile is where boomers are and have kind of stayed there. Gen Xers are in the 37% of Gen Xers go to church. And in millennials, it's, started in the mid-30s and it's gone down to the mid-20s. And then Gen Z, which are young adults and teenagers now, have started and stayed. We don't know, we don't have a lot of data yet, under 20%. So if we think about this church, we're mostly boomers, Gen X, and millennials. So it's, 50% of the generation to 25% of the generation. So to say everyone goes to church, no, if you're talking about millennials, it's like 75% of millennials don't go to church. 50, it's even at the highest, 50% of people aren't going to church. This next chart is people who self-identified as not religious. And in 1972, that bottom line is all adults. In 1972, only 5% of the US population would have identified as not religious, and in 2020, it was up to 30%. If you're just talking about people ages 18 to 29, it was like 10% in 1972, and in 2020, it's 45%. That's people who identify as not religious. So anytime you start talking about these trends, a common thing in religious circles is to say, oh, well, over the generations, young adults never went to church. So you can't really, of course, young adults aren't going to church. No, young adults have never gone to church. They, quote unquote, return to church. And that stopped being true with Gen X, and it's just simply not true with millennials or Gen Zers. I mean, they're anecdotally, you can find a person or two, but overall, statistically, that's simply not true. It's not true that we can say, okay, people are just going to return to church. So what I think is fascinating about this is to really understand why this is the case, and that's what he gets into in a deep way. Now, people who have written about it, who want to refill churches, think, oh, if we can just figure out the why, we can fix it. It's because our worship, we need to change our worship, and then people will show up. Or if we have better programs, then people will show up. Or if we just do this, then people will show up. And the author of this study is like, okay, we're missing some fundamental disconnects between the culture and religion. And that's not to say that following Jesus hasn't always been countercultural, but the word obsolete suggests that it doesn't even answer the questions that people are asking. Now, what is really interesting about this author, and I know this from the introduction, and I haven't gotten deep into the why yet, but he sees the turning point. Anyone want to guess? And you can even, this chart sort of shows it. Guess the year, the exact year that he says there's a turning point when there kind of ended up being this huge disconnect. You can just shout it out and I'll repeat for our people online. Anyone have a guess of what year he says is the turning point? 2001? 76? 2020? Not, it was, who said that? It was 1991. He says is what the major separation was. And there's a lot of statistical data for this, but I'm going to give an anecdotal piece of evidence around this. You know what song, and I know some of you are younger than this here, but what song came out in 1991? The video for it was recorded in August of 1991. Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit. And it was on the charts through most of 1992. I don't know, for those of you who can remember it, if you were alive in 1991, 92, if you can't remember it, Google Smells Like Teen Spirit and watch this video. That is your homework assignment. It is a practice of faith. In this video, what happens is they're in a school auditorium. I mean, they're on a sound stage, but they're at school, and it's a bunch of teenagers, and Nirvana, which is Kurt Cobain and Dave Grohl and another really famous, important guy. Sorry, Anish, if you're watching. And and they say they're articulate. Chris Novosek, thank you so much. The bass players have it. They're trying to say, like, we don't understand what is going on in culture, and nobody can really explain it to us. And there are these cheerleaders that are like pretend cheering in this school auditorium, but they all have an anarchy symbol on. That anarchy symbol was to represent this kind of not only rebellion, but also just lack of understanding and of what was going on in the mainstream. And also this perceived hypocrisy, like, do you even understand us? And do you care about us? And what is going on with all this capitalism and the way that we're supposed to be? It just doesn't make sense. This American dream just did not make sense. And they say the phrase, here we are, entertain us. And then by the end, they get to, oh, well, whatever, never mind. You remember that? So this wasn't just like why I bring this up isn't just to celebrate Nirvana or whatever. I bring this up because in 1991, 1992, this song was played over and over and over and over, and it topped the charts. There was something about it that resonated with people at that time. So it's worth looking at, even if you don't like the music, even if you don't understand it. It tells us something about what was going on because of just how fully it resonated with people. And that was that. Okay, at the same time, now, you guys have heard me say this. I didn't listen to contemporary Christian music. I didn't even know what's CCM. It stands for Contemporary Christian Music. I didn't know it. I thought it was just less good music, and that was weird. And I've come to appreciate it. But I had friends who thought, and actually a friend who said to me, oh, I think as you get deeper in your faith, you'll really start to love contemporary Christian music. There was an attachment to that. Okay, so based on the authors of this book, this is what is resonating in culture. Smells Like Teen Spirit. The top song and video on the CCM was by a group called For Him, and they used the number 4, put them up with their mullets, and they're so clever. They had the number 1 song at the same time Smells Like Teen Spirit was out there. They had the number 1 song on CCM, and I have gone to YouTube and watched the video of this song as well. There could not be 2 more different videos. On the one hand, Nirvana is going, okay, this is all these emotions we have, and we don't know what to do with them, and we feel disengaged, and whatever, never mind. These guys wrote a song called, I'm sure they're lovely men, called The Basics of Life. And in this, they lament the loss of cultural values and morals and the days gone by. And I watched this video. It's so bad. If you have any care or awareness about implicit bias and what's represented, especially racially and socioeconomically in media. In their video, when they're talking about, oh, people these days just don't care about the old school values of religion. These are, they're in a gritty diner. All of the people sitting in there, it appears, are more blue collar, and you see someone smoking. And it's like, oh, that's bad. Black and white, someone smoking a cigarette. Smoking's horrible for you and never do it, but there is something that, like, if heaven is a physical place, a gritty diner where you're drinking a bad cup of coffee and smoking a good cigarette, like, Whew, there's something like really, like I would go back to the, okay, so Bryce, there was this time when people just smoked in restaurants. We're glad it doesn't happen anymore. It's really good. Please never smoke. My kids would be embarrassed that I even said this out loud, but just these everyday people they're the bad people. And then you see this woman walk out, and it's the woman walk out of the diner, and she just yells at her husband. And then you see this little kid go, cover his ears, and this is all in black and white. These are people who, and in the diner, it's more, there's more diversity racially, and it's probably people of less money. Then, when for him is like, okay, guys, we can get back to the gospel message here, and we can really live for Jesus. And it is wealthy, white family riding horses on their horse farm. And it's in color. You go from black and white to color. And they're just so happy with each other. And the teenage children love their parents so much. And they have enough money to own their own land and horses. And they're galloping around. And at that, I'm not criticizing horse riding. Dear friends own horses. Like, great to own horses. But it's just like, what? Are you kidding me? This is so. There just couldn't be a further disconnect between the questions culture was asking. What matters? Why does it matter? What does anything mean anyway? And the answers that the most popular religious song was giving. Like, oh, well, if you're wealthy and white and you own horses, like, you follow Jesus. And in the background, you see this, this is how the author said, a happy, harmonious, white middle-class family riding horses together. And in the background, it kind of fades, but it's still in color, and you see an old church, and there's a sign that says, I still believe in the old rugged cross. Whew, the contrast just could not have been starker. And there is a very wide gap in trying to make sense of the world. The author of this book argues that that's part of why religion became obsolete, because it was just answering questions people weren't asking, and it wasn't responding to the concerns, the pain, the reality of the day. And indeed, it seems like it just got further and further away from that, and through the 90s and 2000s, there became this louder and louder voice of, here's what's right and here's what's wrong. And you must follow that. And the list of things that were wrong included being gay. And oh, wow, you can ride horses and not be gay, and then you're really close to Jesus. Okay. So I don't know. When we started Hope a few years ago, I think I did then and even now naively thought that we could create a space where we're actually having these conversations. And we're wondering what questions are being asked in the world, and do we have, from our faith and from our scriptures, some kind of answers that actually begin to make sense and are aware of the reality of our world. So I don't know. What do we have to say in the context of 2025? Affordable housing and caring for those who are unhoused is one of the things that is incredibly important. Our current teens and young adults are called the anxious generation, and most of you who have young adults or teenagers can affirm that. Even as we gather for worship right now, like this moment, as we're gathering for worship, there are people being rounded up by ICE in LA, and there are protesters wondering if That's right. And there is in the air tear gas and smoke. And this morning, protesters were told that they would not be allowed to have on masks. Does our faith have anything relevant to say to all of this? I sure hope so. You know, our last series we called Imago DEI, because if the world is going to stop talking about diversity and celebrating diversity, then the church better keep talking about and celebrating diversity. If the world is going to say that we don't need to talk about the sin of racism, then as a church, we need to say, we need to keep talking about the sin of racism and how to move toward that beloved community where all are celebrated. We have a church where queer pride is not simply for a month and or for a season when it's profitable to put rainbows on merchandise. At all times, we say everyone who is LGBTQ is queerfully and wonderfully made. Praise be to God. We're not trying to revisit old doctrines or bring out tired rules. We're trying to say, all right, what does our faith have to say to the world? What might our faith had to say to those young adults in 1991? And just P.S., I started in youth ministry in 1993, and it was so real, the disconnect between what was happening on Sunday morning and the questions that these teenagers, now adults, had. What does it mean to claim a faith that is real, that is, springs of new life coming out, that's grounded, and that is also full of love? To try to consider this question today, I want to read a story from toward the beginning of the Gospel of John. Now, most scholars do not believe that this is a historical story. They think it was written down to explain to people what Jesus was like and what he probably would have done and said in this context. It's like when you tell a story of like your kids when they were little, and maybe you don't get all the facts right, but it gives the hearer of the story a sense of the personality of your kid or of that person. So we get a sense of who Jesus is and what Jesus is telling us about love in this story. It's John 8, 1 through 11. Well, Jesus went to the Mount of Olives. Early in the morning, he came again to the temple. So, the religious place. All the people came to him, and he sat down and he began to teach them. The scribes and the Pharisees brought a woman who had been caught in adultery. And making her stand before all of them, they said, "Teacher, this woman was caught in the very act of committing adultery. Now in the law, Moses commanded us to stone such women. What do you say?" They said this to test him, so that they might have some charge to bring against him. Jesus bent down and wrote with his finger in the ground. They kept on questioning him. He straightened up and he said to them, "Let anyone among you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her." And once again he bent down and wrote on the ground. When they heard it, they went away one by one, beginning with the elders, and Jesus was left alone with the woman standing before him. Jesus straightened up and said to her, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" She said, "No one, sir." And Jesus said, "Neither do I condemn you. Go your way, and from now on, do not sin again." All right, often when this scripture is shared, some of what's missed is how funny Jesus is in this. Okay, so sometimes all that gets preached about is the final word, "and do not sin again," or final phrase. We can get to that, but that is not the point of the story. Like, that is an adventure in missing the point if that's where you focus. So let's look at this. He is around all of the most religious people, and they bring a woman who they define as a sinner before him. And you know what he does? He bends down. Not just in first century culture, but in 21st century culture. If you kneel down in front of someone, that is an act of humility. That is a way she was standing taller than him then at that point. He was in a position of really respecting this woman. That's the first thing people would have noticed, like, are you kidding? And then for him to respond of, okay, who doesn't have a sin, go ahead. And that's part of what's funny if you connect it to that final line about, all right, go and sin no more, because she's going to sin, because everyone just showed, of course, everyone is going to keep making mistakes. That's part of his point, that isn't what religion is, and that's not what love is, to try to point each other out. You're doing this wrong. I know there's this rule, and you're not following this rule. You're not following that rule. You're not. And if religion becomes this list of rules to follow, is that a faith we want to restore? Like, that just sounds exhausting and tiring and destined for failure. Everyone, every single person is going to fail if that's what faith is. And Jesus points that out. No one can do this, because we're human. Even when we were studying Jesus early in his ministry, and sometimes it's hard for people to grasp this, but even Jesus had implicit bias and made mistakes and grew in how he was in ministry with all the people. Kneeling in front of this woman, he calms the situation down. He takes a moment, and then he stands up and says, all right, go ahead and throw your stones if you don't have any sins. This is the kind of love that the church, that people of faith are called to offer. It's really authentic. It is vulnerable. It's sacrificial. Jesus didn't show off any knowledge about the scriptures. He could have argued what the law of Moses meant or didn't mean. He didn't try to argue with them. He just calmly, beautifully showed love to the most vulnerable person there. I think that is this really radical love is what it takes to not only individually restore our faith, but this kind of radical love is what we get the opportunity to show in culture. Like, this is what this is about. It's not about rules. Ooh, it's 71 degrees. I told you, this is a place where you can be authentic, right? We want things to be just so, and sometimes they are, and sometimes they aren't. This is a faith worth reclaiming. It's not a system of dogma trying to get some kind of culture war badge, but it's a faith that loves radically, whether you're in your kitchen or your boardroom or social media, or you're a protester saying, I stand for those who are in the margins, if you're in the church or if you're in the world. We're invited to rebuild our faith based on compassion, not on certainty, based on love, based on a love that invites every single person to the table. And so we remember that by the time that Jesus was finishing his ministry, he said that not just the most religious, not just those that had all the scriptures memorized, not just those who followed whatever rule, but everyone was welcome to the table. And he took bread and he blessed it and he broke it and he gave it to them. And he said, "This represents my body, which is broken for you." And likewise, after supper, he took the cup, and having given thanks, he blessed it and he said, "This is a cup of a new covenant, poured out for you and for everyone. Drink this in remembrance of me every time you gather." And so, as a community of people, we come to the communion table. I want you to know that when we celebrate communion, the table is open to absolutely everyone. You don't have to be part of a particular faith tradition or a creedal set of beliefs. You can simply come with an openness to receive that which God has to offer you and this community this day. You are not required to come to communion by any means, but if you choose to, the ushers will release us by row, and you can put your hand in the form of a cross, and you'll get a piece of bread, and then you dip it in the cup. This is a method called intinction. If you would like gluten-free bread and juice, that is right here, and I will be here to bless that and here for prayer. Would the two of you be willing to help me serve communion? Okay. And as they prepare, we'll invite the band to come forward first. All right. The table is set. Come and feast.
So I can see my neighbor as myself, and give me doubt, so I can lay all my weapons on the ground. And when the armor of God grows too heavy for peace, give me doubt, oh, give me doubt, and give me doubt, and what be my courage now, my shield from evil. Love be my courage now. I shall not fear. Every day we go to war again, we assume we know so much more than them before we hear what they have to say. A headline breaks, we start to hate again, calling them names again. We give our peace away. I hope they see it, 'cause I wanna see it. I hope we believe it. I wanna see the love all around you, all around you. And I wanna know that love is all around you, is all around you. Day by day, hope fades away, and then we know that there is pain within that we cannot medicate. I learn to feel, I learn to begin again. Open our eyes again to see our neighbor's pain. And I hope they see it, 'cause I wanna see it. I hope we believe it. Oh, I wanna see the love all around you, all around you. And I wanna know that love is all around you, it's all around you. See how it lights you up, it lights you up. See how it lights you up, it lights you up. See how it lights you up, it lights you up. I wanna see the love all around you, all around you. And I wanna know that love is all around you, is all around you.
Shape our church into a sanctuary for all, for the lonely and the bold, the hurting and the hopeful. Let our love testify to a deeper truth, that you are here and you are love. Amen.